Welcome to this brief video that will share some highlights of the IHM response to doing justice through education. In seeking to read the signs of these times, we take inspiration from the one gospel text in which St. Alphonsus Liguori, our spiritual father, saw his life and mission mirrored. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives, recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord. We believe this passage to be truly prophetic, echoed in what we now call Catholic social teaching, and the IHM charism of love, creative hope, and fidelity, calling us to be joyful bearers of God's redeeming love. Summoned by our congregational chapter meetings of 2012 and 2018 to respond to the current and emerging needs of the Church, and convinced that opportunity, not poverty, should define people's lives, we look back to the educational tradition of the congregation and then forward to find new concrete initiatives to respond to the destructive and dehumanizing signs of our times, the despair of powerlessness, the misery of poverty, and the desolation of human dignity. In this video, we will focus on some of those new and ongoing initiatives as a way of doing justice through education. Ongoing education of the congregation regarding the gospel imperative of social justice and justice spirituality as a way of life is a continual and vital process.
The members of the IHM Social Justice Resource Team work to raise the level of awareness of the congregation on justice spirituality and emerging social justice issues as identified by the signs of the times. Such a task requires challenging each of our sisters to become steeped in the principles of Catholic social teaching, to identify critical issues of the day, and to devise a conscious, deliberate response to the task of caring for all of God's creatures, especially the most vulnerable. Individually and locally, sisters are encouraged to propose action to right wrongs, that is, to do justice. Social justice spirituality has shaped and focused our commitment to do justice by using the three-pronged strategy of education, prayer, and action. In the joy of the gospel, Pope Francis invites us to recover the original freshness of the gospel, finding new avenues and new paths of creativity without enclosing Jesus in our dull categories. There is a need for a pastoral and missionary conversion which cannot leave things as they are. A monthly info alert sent to every convent identifies critical issues, provides information on specific concerns, and suggests prayer and concrete action to be taken by our sisters individually, regionally, and congregationally. In each convent, a social justice contact person keeps the sisters informed and involved. Significant emerging issues on which we continue to act include poverty, racism, the scarcity of water, care for the earth, human trafficking, immigration, domestic violence, and the elderly, all under the umbrella of the dignity of the human person. In society and in our church, the needs of the elderly confront us as a critical issue, demanding a response. These aging, faith-filled members are the nucleus of our church today. And so many of our sisters minister to this fast-growing population through visits to them in their homes, nursing homes, retirement residences, including our own Camilla Hall, and hospitals. An alarming rise in poverty, domestically and globally, remains a grave concern. Our sisters continue to explore current social justice issues, such as the number of families living with food insecurity and the tragic situation of so many children and families living with hunger. The devastating issue of human trafficking engages our ongoing efforts to educate, pray, and act to end these social sins. In a specific action, we partnered with several coalitions to diminish trafficking associated with Super Bowl events by establishing contacts with local hotel management and encouraging training for all employees to identify and report trafficking to the police. An ongoing commitment we have made is to Dawn's Place, a safe residence in Philadelphia for women rescued from trafficking, established in 2010 through the persistence and hard work of religious women in the Philadelphia area. We support this ministry by donation, by responding to their list of needs, and by spreading the news of their work through our ministries and contacts. By consistently contacting government representatives, sisters continue efforts to effect structural changes on immigration reform, on domestic abuse of women and children, on poverty and family issues such as a living wage. Sisters have traveled to Washington, D.C. to visit legislators and advocate for immigration reform. More locally, our sisters at Camilla Hall undertook a unique Share the Journey pilgrimage to support the work of Catholic Relief Services at the border. For these retired sisters, the rooms and walkways of Camilla Hall became their own Camino de Santiago. With each step, they prayed, meditated, and remembered migrants and refugees, supporting them in their struggle for survival and peace. The signs of the time, from family detention centers to climate control to trafficking to exploitation of workers to poverty to hunger and homelessness, demand that we continue to challenge our sisters and those to whom we minister to recognize the signs of these times, learn the issues, pray about them, and take action whenever and however they can to help change unjust structures.
Today, literacy education is a powerful tool for opening doors and unlocking possibilities as talents are nurtured, skills are honed, and possibilities create hope and give direction. Our IHM literacy centers breathe life into the call to justice found in the book of Leviticus, to welcome the stranger as a citizen among us. This ministry provides an arena for doing justice as we provide literacy classes for the multi-ethnic, non-English speaking adult immigrant population in Northeast and Southwest Philadelphia. These sites are located at St. Bernard's School and St. Francis de Sales Parish, respectively. Our IHM charism animates all our literacy centers, as evidenced by reverence for each person, respect shown by teachers and learners alike, and a culture that promotes excellence and the highest quality of achievement for each learner. Our literacy centers are inclusive, not questioning religious affiliation, legal status, country of origin, or culture. Pope Francis tells us that we are called to be living sources of water from which others can drink. Our literacy centers cherish the belief that all people have a right to migrate, to protect their families, to sustain their lives, and to use the goods of the earth, which belong to everyone. The joy of the gospel is for all people, says Pope Francis, and no one can be left out. Many learners from a variety of countries in Latin America, Africa, and Asia find a valuable educational resource at the IHM literacy centers. The unique culture of each learner is appreciated, and the need to preserve their culture is promoted, while they incorporate themselves into American life, which at best reflects the beauty and richness of cultural diversity. Both sites in Philadelphia rely on IHM and local community support, as well as professional partnerships. Sisters often mentor students pursuing a master's degree in TESOL, teaching English as a second language, thus providing for such services into the future by training others to teach literacy skills and to expand much-needed outreach possibilities. Family literacy is an outreach to mothers and children, but which has ramifications for the entire family, who receive visits and services through their participation. The IHM Family Literacy Center in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, primarily serves Hispanic families from Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador, offering education and faith formation opportunities. The teachers provide toddlers with English language skills necessary to begin kindergarten on a par with native-speaking children. This goal is indeed a way of transforming the chances of children. Early childhood education promotes opportunity and reduces inequality one child at a time. Mothers enrolled at the center are engaged in a program that provides parenting support, language classes, life skills, faith formation, and assistance to continue English speaking at home, school, and in the neighborhood. Home visits allow the sisters to gain first-hand insights about the migrant experience for parents and children alike. God continues to invite us to stand on the margins, to draw the stranger into community, and to nurture their gifts and talents. Such a call came to us in the invitation to be involved in the establishment of the first Cristo Rey High School in the city of Philadelphia. Cristo Rey defines itself as the school that works, as it prepares disadvantaged youth for both college and the workplace. In 2012, the IHM sisters accepted the call to become co-endorsers of the Cristo Rey Philadelphia High School and partnered with the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales in sharing our IHM charism and providing support and direction for this new venture. Our sisters are involved in the day-to-day ministry at Cristo Rey, as it seeks to be a Catholic school for students of all faiths. The work-study model of Cristo Rey is an effort to link an underserved population with the professional and skill-building opportunities of the Philadelphia area. Students receive one-on-one mentoring and experience the personal development provided in the workplace environment. We believe that our varied educational efforts are indeed expressions of faith, deeds of justice, creative acts of hope, and genuine testimonies of love.
The myriad manifestations of the IHM mission continue to evolve, reflecting the signs of these times and the current and emerging needs of the people of God. In recent years, many Catholic schools, both elementary and secondary, have been forced to close for a variety of reasons, and sisters now utilize their educational expertise to guide and mentor new teachers, principals, and even parents through formal mentoring programs. Likewise, through involvement in parish religious education programs, along with ministry to the Hispanic community, sisters continue to respond to current church needs. While participating in these and other new initiatives, the sisters recognize that doing justice does not always mean doing something new. Fidelity to commitments already made to the poor demonstrates an equally valuable way of doing justice. In South America, the Immaculata IHMs have been responding to the current and emerging needs of the Church there since 1922. The work of the sisters and their lay colleagues has provided the poor with the spiritual and academic tools needed to free themselves from the bonds of poverty. From the traditional work of the sisters in elementary and secondary private schools, new forms of education have emerged. One example is the Instituto de Educación Superior of San Antonio, Callao, Peru, which provides a post-executive secretary program on the same site as Colegio San Antonio. This school serves about 90 young women graduates on scholarship from San Antonio and the Fe Alegría schools. St. Peter's School in Reading, Pennsylvania, represents another clear example of long-term fidelity to serving the poor. From its founding in 1859, the congregation has contributed personnel and financial support to enable this school, rich in community and church history, to remain a vital expression of hope and educational opportunity for the local Hispanic community. Likewise, in upstate Pennsylvania, a new kind of poverty continues to grow as once thriving towns and schools experience church closures and school mergers. Again, with the support of personnel and funding, the congregation attempts where it can to remain present rather than abandon the poor of these struggling and changing communities. Having a sister on the staff of Colby Academy serves as just one example. This school was founded to minister to high school students recovering from substance abuse in the Allentown Diocese. Father Gillet's words truly capture the mystery and majesty of responding to all these past and present church needs. The good that already has been performed by the grace of God is incalculable. Certainly the question he poses remains our hope and our challenge. Who can measure all that is yet to be done?
And so, in the tradition of our beloved patron, St. Alphonsus Liguori, passionate missionary to the most abandoned poor, in the spirit of our steadfast and stalwart Pope Francis, friend of the poor, and in fidelity to our own graced IHM legacy of devoted love for God's poor ones, may our efforts to do justice through education continue to be a sign of creative hope in our times. Ours is a hope that places all its confidence in God's loving providence. A hope that seeks to make a way where there is no way. A hope that believes we can make a difference, especially in these times, threatened by all sorts of new poverties and new challenges. A hope that looks to the future with joy, fresh eyes, and renewed vigor. A hope that is capable of waking up the world.